smoking some stogies. But Olin Buchanan, a friend of the show. We got to get T-shirts for people that are official friends of the show, or hats, buttons. I don't know, buttons, that seems to maybe be out. That's kind of an old style thing. He doesn't work at TGI Fridays. But Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com, joins us now. And Olin, I do want to talk about this at the end, or maybe we can get into it now before we get into Trev Alberts and how huge news that is for A&M. But the Trooper Taylor's son, Blaze Taylor, arrested for murder today, and obviously he won't be joining the staff. What does that mean for Trooper Taylor going forward, having to deal with such a tragic situation involving his son?
Well, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
It's a tragedy for all those involved. And, if his son is guilty, and let's wait for it all to play out, like you should with everybody. But, as heinous as a crime as that would be, or it is, that's still his son. Mm-hmm. And he loves his son. I'm sure. I haven't met Trooper yet, but I'm a father, and I know that, I'm always going to love my son, and I'm always going to want the best for him. And if something like this would happen, God forbid, it would be heartbreaking. And I'm sure it would have some kind of, effect. Actually, in times like that, maybe the best thing for you is working. Mm-hmm. But I can't pretend to really know, because thank God I've never had to go through anything like that with my boy.
Yeah. Absolutely, Olin. Just wanted to get that one out of the way first because it's a really confusing and difficult thing to talk about. So to the big news of the week for A&M, getting Trev Alberts away from his alma mater, which, for Nebraska really is wild because they've lost their president, they've lost their athletic director. They were very instrumental in getting Matt Rule there. Now Trev Alberts takes over a program at A&M that just made a football hire, so he doesn't have to worry about that in Mike Elko. But this is a big swing and a big get for them to replace Ross Bjork. What's been the reaction so far in Aggie land?
I think for the most part it's positive, but I think a lot of folks kind of scratch their head and say, now remind me again what an athletic director does. Beyond raising money and maybe hiring and firing a coach. Look, the easiest job in the world has got to be raising money for A&M athletics from Aggies. Aggies they love their program. They'll contribute if you give them a reason to. I think that from what I understand, I haven't met Trev yet, but what made him really attractive is that they've made some really positive steps and done some good things toward NIL, some innovative things. I understand they have a building where, an NIL building, right? I don't know this, but that's what I've been told, where, of course you can do all the shopping you want to for the players and their merchandise, but you also have a place in there where you can go and, if you're just somebody that wants to make a contribution, you're not $1 million guy, but you want to make a contribution, there's a place to go to do so. And, I don't know, and I haven't been up to Lincoln in, 15 years, but from what I understand that, they've done some really positive things in NIL, and A&M wanted an athletic director that understood or had a good feeling on what the future of college football is going to be and college athletics is going to be. I think we all know that NIL is going to be a big part of that. So somebody that's active and innovative along those fronts, and they felt like Trev Alberts is that guy. So, but I do think Aggies have learned to, unfortunately, to have to take a wait and see approach on everything, because too many times they've been sold the bill of goods that this hire or that hire is going to make the big splash that maybe doesn't come. So I think they'll welcome Trev with open arms, but again, we'll take a wait and see approach to just how much they should celebrate this hire.
Is it kind of like, there's, unless you are Ohio State where Ross Bjork went, there's really not many programs that there's not at least one other job that's bigger than you, right? And A&M's a gigantic program. So there's not many. Like, there's not many jobs that you can do that. You know, Scott Woodward went back to LSU because, I mean, he's an LSU guy. You know, Ross Bjork went to Ohio State because it's Ohio State. Is it a little troubling that they have not been able to keep an athletic director? And this is like kind of the history of A&M where, you know, since they stopped hiring coaches to do this job, they've not been able to really keep an athletic director for a very long time.
Well, number one, I think that issue may be way up the chain of command. And, you know, maybe there's a problem there. If you'll look at A&M, yeah, you've had a lot of athletic directors. You've had a lot of changes in the president's department too, or at the president's position too. And then you start saying, okay, well, what's been an area where there hasn't been any change? And if you look at that and say, okay, you know, maybe there's an issue there. That said, I think Ross, hey, for all I know, he would have gone to Ohio State anyway. But I think with the whole way that you may recall the whole way that the football coach search came off, and Ross thought, obviously erroneously, that he had the power to make the hire of a football coach on his own, and wanted to hire Mark Stoops. And the Board of Regents balked, obviously, which I understand they're balking. Why are you going to fire a coach that has a suspect offense to hire a coach that has a suspect offense? So I think Ross moving on was probably what both parties wanted.
Olin, now that one of the things that Trev Alberts is going to have to deal with pretty much right away is the situation with the basketball team. They're about to probably make the tournament. Right now, Joe Lunardi has them as the last team in. Buzz Williams got them in the tournament last year. Obviously, in 2021, I think they were egregiously left out of the tournament, especially the way that they'd finished that year on an absolute tear and then did not get in the tournament. What do you think happens with Buzz Williams going forward? Because there are jobs open out there that will probably try and hire him and be like, hey, you can win here better than you can win at A&M, and you know, maybe get out of a situation that might be a little too up and down from what he had expected.
Well, you know, if it's up and down, you know, whose fault is that?
His. Yeah.
You know, look, I don't think Buzz is in any trouble. But if he decides that he wants to look around and maybe go somewhere else, I think A&M would say, okay, you know, best of luck to you, and you know, let's see what we can find here. Because, quite frankly, if you're feeling confident that they're in the tournament, and I know, and apparently Joe Lunardi is too. I'm not. I think to feel absolutely. To feel confident, I think they have to beat Kentucky here in about an hour, starting in about an hour and a half. But you know, here's the deal. And this, I don't mean to come off like I'm trashing Buzz here, because I'm not. But I'm, you know, just stating fact. If they don't get in the tournament this year, that'll be one tournament appearance in 5 years and no tournament victory. And he's paid my understanding, among the top 15 coaches in the country. And, you know, quite frankly, that's not, you don't pay for one appearance and no wins. You don't pay like that. And on top of that, if you climbed up on a mountain, if there was one in College Station, looked all around you, you would see Baylor going to the tournament and Houston going to the tournament and probably TCU and I guess Texas and maybe Texas Tech, right? And even who else did I see might get in? Sam Houston. So all around you, there are teams in our state going to the tournament, and maybe A&M will play their way in. Now, they probably got shafted a little bit 2 years ago, but the fact is, if you had not had an 8-game losing streak, you wouldn't have had to worry about that. Mm-hmm. And they may sneak in, but the fact is, if you had not had a 5-game losing streak after beating Tennessee, and that losing streak being to a lowly, including losses to a lowly Vanderbilt and Arkansas, you wouldn't have to worry about it. So, again, Buzz is in no trouble. If he's not the coach at A&M next year, I believe it'll be because he doesn't want to be. He's in no trouble. So, but again, if another program pursued him and courted him, I don't think A&M would try to stand in the way. They gave him a raise and extension, I believe, last year. So if he decided that, this is the place for me, I think they'd say, again, all right, best of luck to you, and we'll find somebody that wants to be here. And maybe they'll get you into the tournament more than once in 5 years, and maybe the next guy will win a tournament game or two.
Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com. Olin, thanks so much for hopping on the show. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.